stuff is there in our unconscious and our shadow, but it's there and it's huge. It's actually driving us and making us do things and we can't think why. Now, when Lilith is opposition Mars, the person is driven by raw and intense ambition and passion and rebellion. Very Amy Winehouse. They're determined to succeed at any cost. They bring their rebellion into relationship as well. And they're jealous and possessive at the same time as being super reactive when their insecurities are challenged. But as I said, Amy's had Mars conjunct Venus. So Lilith is also opposition her natal Venus, though to a very slightly wider orb. Now, when Lilith is opposition your natal Venus, your love life is actually driven by conflicting sexual scripts and raw emotions. And they're all buried out of your awareness and stuffed down into your unconscious and your shadow side. So the person is driven by them, but unaware of what is driving them and making them behave this way in those life areas. And from there, Lilith drives the person with them, being very ignorant and unaware, unless, of course, they do the spiritual work. And, of course, astrology declaration can so help in this. So Lilith opposition Venus people have to learn to reclaim their personal power, to note the sexual and relationship scripts and identity scripts caused, and manage the rage that the unconscious stuffed down material drives them to. Okay, let's go on to another feature that Vedic astrology knows nothing of, but so important to know. Chiron. Amy's Chiron, or existential wound, in the healing of which she had the potential to heal others, is in Gemini in her Western chart. That's the tropical zodiac. Now, with Chiron in Gemini, healing processes are associated with the need to be heard and understood. That's what the existential wound of Chiron in Gemini sets the person up for. And they have a challenge to express and share their innermost thoughts and ideas coming from their wound, their Chiron wound to communication. And I'd say this Amy Winehouse did with great success, great musical success, as well as, I would say, awareness and healing potential. But Chiron is not just in Gemini, it's in the 12th house in Amy's chart. And the 12th house indicates that the wounding healer experience plays itself out by accessing and deeper seeking to expunge secret, subliminal or unconscious issues stuffed down into the unconscious that constitute festering wounds. And very importantly, there may be a sense of karmic fatedness running your life, therefore. And indeed, relevant to Chiron, Amy has Chiron opposition Uranus, the wounded healer, clashing with the forward-thinking rebel. And in a sense, she was both. Let's go on to a couple more asteroids, because they really do help the interpretation of Amy's chart get bigger, better and more accurate. Let's look at Ceres. Well, Ceres is the asteroid of the harvest that our life can bring. Now, Ceres is conjunct Amy's Lilith and conjunct her midheaven, the start of the 10th house of career. So that's her career, and with Ceres there, nurturing is so important a principle to Amy. It needs to be part of her career. And it is the harvest that her work offers. And this too comes through if you watch the film. And the other astrological point I'd add, bringing in Pluto, and of course the outer planets are outside traditional Vedic astrology, well, she has Saturn conjunct Pluto. Now, Saturn conjunct Pluto has the power to become directed and obsessive when pursuing one of your ambitions. So in relationships, a big problem area, horrific problem area for Amy, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction can find unacceptance of the partner's limits or suggestions that the partner's, asking for. And thus the Saturn-Pluto conjunction is very difficult for a relationship. So, Amy Winehouse died the 23rd of July 2011 due to alcohol poisoning at the age of 27. So let's look about making a conclusion as to what Vedic astrology and Western astrology say. The big point emerging is about fatedness in our charts, about the karmas shown in our charts. And the whole point is we need to know what they are. We need to work with them for our own spiritual growth and healing in this life. And Amy didn't, on the whole, sadly. By the way, I've found out that it certainly can be said that we actually incarnate partly to get some things wrong, to do some things wrong in this life. But with the divine purpose that in seeing the wrongness, we cease doing those wrong things. And thus we heal that karma, which might have been running through our past ancestry and past lives, maybe even for thousands of years. But when we bring spiritual perceptions to things we do wrong, if we can end that karma, we make such a huge leap forward in our spiritual awareness and expression. And the other point that's important to the conclusion is that Vedic astrology has a magnificent series of divisional charts. They're called Varga charts. They're derived from the birth chart, and each of the divisional charts or Varga charts says something quite magnificent in guidance about a particular area of our life. Now, one of these divisional charts, and there's 16 main ones, is the D60, the 60th harmonic chart. It's called the Shashtiamsha chart. Now, the D60 is very important to know because it states the karmas we had run up by the time of our death, at the end of our last lifetime. It states all these karmas that we'd run up, indeed some of them stretching back thousands of years. Now, the saying is that after our death, our higher self reviews that totality of karmas, bad karmas and good karmas, and makes a selection of karmas for us to work with in this life. And that is expressed by our birth chart in Vedic astrology. Now, Amy's D60 Shashtiamsha chart contains some very difficult karmas built up over her last and previous lifetimes. So you'll be interested to know that each of the planets in the D60 Shashtiamsha chart has a ruling deity. That's based on each of the half-degree positions in which the planets fall, having a different deity. And because Hinduism, like Tibetan Buddhism, is tantric, some of the faces of the divine, some of the deities are absolutely awful. And that's because it's not just through nice experiences we can find God and connection to the divine. We can also find connection to the divine and spiritual growth through terrible experiences. Now, the deity ruling Amy's Venus, her Atmakarika, and the ruler of the sign where Rahu North Node is Gora, the most terrible face of the divine. And the deity ruling Amy's nodes of the moon, Rahu and Ketu, is Brashta, also a terrible face of the divine. So there's food for thought about her past lives. And indeed, my wife, Maggie Pashley, does past life readings online. You can book them through her website, www.maggiepashley.com. The links are down below in the video description and at the end of the blog post. So I do hope this video and blog post about Amy Winehouse's very difficult karmic script for her life is of interest in you. So you are studying how Vedic and Western astrology can both be used for discovering our life purpose, our karmas, our destiny direction in this life, and offering us therefore potential for healing and spiritual growth. My astrology can also be used in this way for understanding better and healing our ancestral and past life issues. And so often, in conjunction with your astrology reading or astrology course, I offer shamanic journeys. Indeed, I have a shamanic teaching course. It's on my Druid Forest School website. And I usually do tarot readings, which are so helpful as well. So to get a reading from me, go to my Starwheel astrology website and to see the video about the current month of April and Amy's charts, as I said, go to the month page on the Starwheel astrology website. Also, if it applies to you, if you're interested, see my worldwide dating site. For those on a spiritual pathway seeking love, go to Love Star Dating. Do subscribe to my Starwheel Astrology blog, and you can join our Facebook page, Starwheel Astrology. So I do hope that this study of Amy Winehouse's astrology, combining Vedic and Western astrology, as always needs to be the case, has been useful and of interest to you. And indeed, I certainly might recommend that you see the film. Okay, thank you.